Hi YouTube, this is Evie. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have another video for you all. We're going to be talking about how to survive BDSM parties and events as an introvert. And this is something that I've gotten a lot of questions about. There are a lot of people out there who are dealing with being introverted, being shy, being anxious, being just generally really nervous about going to events for the first time. And believe it or not, I am very introverted, and I am here to help you and share my knowledge and my experiences of what it's like being an introvert in this community. And hopefully you guys will find this helpful. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how in the world could Evie possibly be an introvert when she does all these things online and she has a YouTube channel and she's talking to people all the time? I know, it seems weird and it seems contradictory, but I am an introvert. I have been an introvert my entire life. I just find that online interactions are a lot easier than real life interactions, and I have dealt with that worry and fear and not knowing what was going to happen at BDSM events and kind of having to learn how to, as an introvert, feel comfortable in these environments even when I'm by myself. And that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. The first thing that I want to address is actually finding parties and that. I do have entire videos already talking about specifically BDSM etiquette and how to find parties and how to find events, like entire videos just dedicated to those subjects. I think those are really important to watch, so please do check them out after you watch this video. Links will be in the description below if you haven't seen them already. But basically, how you'll find events is you go to FetLife, you search for what area you live in, and then you go to the events tab, and then you see what is happening. There will be munches, there will be parties, there will be classes, there will be all kinds of things to go to. And I think the best place to start as an introvert is to go to a munch. Each area is going to be different. Each place is going to have sort of a specific nature, a specific sort of flavor to its munch. When I lived in college, the munch that I went to was really small. It was probably about 10 people every week. And it actually wasn't even every week. It was, I think, every other week. It was like every second Thursday or something. And it was a lot smaller, but it was a lot more intimate of a group because it was a group of people that went really regularly. Whereas where I go now, there is like 3 different munches all at different times in different places in the same city. There's, you know, a bunch of smaller like neighborhood munches, and then there's one giant like entire citywide munch once a month that's like 60 people, which is just crazy and ridiculous, and I purposely don't go to that one. But basically, when you go to FetLife and you're finding events and you're looking at munches, see how many people are RSVP'd. Is it 5 people or is it 50 people? Is this going to be too overwhelming for you? Is it something that happens regularly? Is there maybe a day or a time when they have a lighter schedule? The first step that you should do if you're new, regardless of if you're an introvert, is to message the event coordinator and ask about the event, ask about what kind of people go there, ask about expectations around clothing and conversation, and ask about sort of, you know, generally what is the group like, you know, what is the food like at the place you're going to, what time should you get there, how late does it go until. A lot of this will be things that should be listed in the event description, but a lot of times when people find out that someone is new, they will go out of their way to answer questions as thoroughly as possible and make them feel welcome. You might even actually be able to meet the event coordinator at the event itself, and they may be able to introduce you to people in a more controlled way rather than just diving in, you know, with your nose plugged, just going, like diving below the surface and not knowing what's going to happen. It's a lot better if you establish a point of contact before the event actually happens, then just, you know, if you can, just so you know what to expect. Because if you talk to the event coordinator and it turns out, oh yeah, this munch is huge and there's always like 100 people and it's so crazy and wow, that's probably not really going to be a good place for you to start as an introvert. There's usually a munch within like an hour of where you live, unless you live really, really out in the middle of nowhere, at least in the United States. So if you live in LA or San Diego or a really, really big city, there's a possibility that there is a smaller munch in another town that's within driving distance of you that may be a better place for you to dip your toe in the water in than like the big giant, you know, like San Diego munch or something. Just an idea to keep in mind. Let's say you've decided to go to a munch and it's like, you know, it's a good size, like 20 people, but you don't recognize anybody in the event list, and you've never been to another event before, and you don't know what the people are going to be like, and it's so nerve-wracking what's going to happen. The best thing you could do is either you can go by yourself, which is very brave, and I commend you to do that. You can bring somebody to go with you. It is okay to bring a vanilla person with you to a munch, because munches are usually pretty vanilla. People do sometimes talk about things that they've done and scenes and things like that, but it is in a vanilla setting, so 95% of the conversation will be about things other than kink. As long as they understand, what the protocol and behavior is around munches, which, you can show them my video that talks about etiquette, and that'll be really helpful. They should be fine as long as they're comfortable with it, and don't treat it like a petting zoo. Again, I'm just going to say this again so everybody hears it. You can bring a vanilla person with you to a munch as a support person or as a wingman or whatever, just so you have somebody that that you're secure with, that you can rely on, and then somebody can come and pull you out of a situation if it turns out to be too overwhelming. That is perfectly okay. Something that will be really, really helpful as an introvert at a munch is wear nerdy things. Bring nerdy things with you. Do you have a Star Trek keychain on your lanyard? Do you have a bunch of Star Wars t-shirts? Do you have, basically different fandom things? Wear those with you. Wear your nerd pride, because there will be, I guarantee, at least one person who is into that same thing as you are. Maybe not as much, or maybe even more than you're into it, but at least you'll have, a secure way of starting a conversation with somebody who's probably also an introvert like you are. Also, don't be afraid to start conversations with people that you don't know. This is really, really difficult for introverts, but munches are really opening and welcoming, and they want to see new people, and they are so very excited when new people come in, so they will probably be very welcoming. And it may be overwhelming for you as a new person, and they may ask you lots of questions, and they may just, be too much for you. But just, if you don't know anybody else, don't sit in the corner. And I know it's going to be really tempting to do that, but don't do it. Sit next to people. If there's a free chair, ask if you can take a seat, even if you don't say anything. Just be around people. Listen to the conversation. You don't have to say anything. Just listen, get to know people, learn names, learn faces, kind of get the flow of the conversation, figure out what people are talking about and their energy and their personalities and what they find humorous and all of that. And then once you've had the time to sort of, figure out who the heck are these people, then you can jump into the conversation, and I think that will make it a lot more, easy for you to handle. I definitely have had people go to munches that I've been to before who are clearly very introverted, who just sort of sit there and enjoy the conversation, and you worry, like, oh my god, do they hate us? Do they think that they're weird? What's happening? And they're like, yeah, I loved it. It was the best. You guys are awesome. And then the next time you come out, because you don't need to stay for that long the first time, and I should make a point of that. You don't need to stay for the entire length of the munch. If you get nervous or overwhelmed at big crowds, just go for 30 minutes the first time. And if you feel like you need to leave, have somebody come pick you up, have somebody give you a phone call, or just say hey, I got something else going on, see you guys next week or whatever, and then just go, and then you can take time to process what was happening, and then you can go again next week or next month or wherever. You may not ever need to go back again, who knows? But you should, definitely don't feel obligated to stay the entire length of time if that's too overwhelming for you. People generally don't, except for the event coordinators and people who are just really, really talkative. And also, don't be worried about judgment if you don't say anything, or if they don't recognize you, or you're younger or older, or you're this or you're that or whatever. BDSM is very sex positive, it's very body positive. People are very open and they're very welcome and they want to see you. I know I've said it before in this video at least once already, but they want to see you. So just be yourself. And I know that's a really, really cliched thing to say, but don't feel like you need to put on a face to impress people. Don't feel like you need to act like something you're not. The best thing is to just be who you are, be open about your interests, talk about things that you think are, interesting, talk about things that you know about, talk about books that you've read, shows that you like, just all of that stuff. People are just curious and they want to know, and honestly, sometimes it doesn't really matter what you say so long as you're saying something. And as an introvert as well, it can be really, really tempting to just sit there and babysit your phone while you're at the event. try not to do that. It'll make you seem really reserved and aloof, like you don't want to be there, and people won't approach you. If you need something to occupy yourself, you can bring like a fidget cube, you can bring a book, just something that doesn't necessarily 100% block you off from potential conversations, because when people see you doing this and you're just looking at your phone and you're not paying attention, blah, 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 that's not going to come off very well, and people aren't going to think that you're friendly. They're going to think that you don't want to be talked to, that you don't like people, whatever. So just kind of be aware of the signals that you're sending to other people when you're going to events, because that will definitely change the atmosphere and change the environment for you. And I do want to point out that some events are better for introverts than others. This doesn't just apply to munches that are big or small, but there actually are entire events just set up for introverts. There actually used to be an event at the dungeon I used to go to called Introverted, which was literally an entire party just for introverts to go to and meet people, which was awesome, and I wish that it still happened. But there are definitely events that you can go to that are more geared towards the quieter folk. Most classes as well don't even require that you talk to other people. You just go and learn, and you sort of incidentally meet people that way and get names and faces sort of registered in your brain that way. And that might be a better way for you to be able to interact with your BDSM community, is to just go to classes. The big question is, how do you survive going to a dungeon when you're introverted? Because that is a whole other level than going to a munch. And that is going to be pretty much a lot of the same advice I gave for munches, just like applied another time over. It's applied to a different event. When you are introverted and going to a party, if you can, get there early. A lot of times dungeons don't get really busy until not necessarily the end of the night, but after like 11 or 12, that is when people start to really come in. If the party starts at like 8 or 9, be there as close to that time as you can, because there's going to be less people. It's going to be less overwhelming. It probably won't be as loud. It'll be just a lot easier to process and actually talk to people, because basically after about the first hour, there's still going to be some socializing going on. It depends on the nature of the event, but a lot of times people will have transitioned from the hanging out and meeting people to the playing portion of their evening, either because they have previous plans or they've met people to play with or whatever. So just go there early, and again, like munches, you don't have to stay there the whole time. If you get really overwhelmed and you can only be there for an hour, you're there for an hour, and that's great, and you met people and you did it, and I'm so proud of you. So proud. So if you only can be there for an hour, that's awesome. And like a lot of things, like I said with the munch, just go sit with people, just be there and be present. And even if that means you sit with people and you introduce yourself and you don't say another word for the rest of the conversation, that's totally fine, because hey, you met people and they know your name, and maybe they're going to add you on FetLife, and maybe you can message them later and get to know them one-on-one, and that'll be awesome. And it's sort of the same thing with the munch too. You can bring somebody with you. It may not be the best idea to bring somebody who's just straight up vanilla, because they get really uncomfortable really fast depending on the particular event that is happening there. And I don't know if anything that I said in this video made sense or was helpful or changed anything. I hope that it did. If you guys found it helpful, please let me know down below. Leave comments, stories, etc. Basically, just remember to, be yourself, be honest, do things in a format that is most easy for you to handle. You don't need to dive off the deep end and spend 6 hours at a dungeon your first time. Go to a munch for half an hour. Talk to people before you actually even go to the event. Message the event coordinator to know that you're going to be new. Have a way to signal to other people your interests, even if you're too nervous to start a conversation, like wear a band t-shirt or have a lanyard that has like your favorite anime on it or whatever. Like, have a way to start a conversation that is really, quick and easy. Have things that you thought about ahead of time that you feel comfortable talking about. If you need to practice giving answers to common questions, do that. I know I get really nervous when I am talking to people and I'm like, oh my god, what if they ask me about this thing? How do I say what I do? How do I say what my job is? How do I say where I live? And I have to think about everything that I'm going to say beforehand. And if that helps you, do it. If you need to bring a winged person, do that. If you need to set up a phone call for somebody to come and rescue you after 30 minutes, do that. If you need to, do whatever you need to do to make yourself comfortable and just be proud of the fact that you went out of the ledge and you did it. It's really all there is to it. And that is basically everything. Again, if you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave that down in the comment section below. If you like this video and find it helpful, please do give it a thumbs up, because that really, really does help and lets me, know what videos guys like more than others. If you haven't already and you want to, please do subscribe to this channel, because I make videos twice a week. And if you want to see more videos like this one, please do consider going to my Patreon, which I will link down in the description box. That is how I'm able to make videos like this. That is how I am able to afford better cameras and afford more time to do research and all that stuff. So please do consider going to that if you haven't already. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.